The man sitting across from you looks completely ordinary, average height, unremarkable clothes, but in the next 60 seconds, he's going to break your mind. Not with violence, not with intimidation, with something far more terrifying. A method so brutal that Roman soldiers feared it more than death itself. Today, Navy SEALs use this exact same protocol. They call it by different names, but the core remains unchanged. A 1900-year-old system that transforms human weakness into unbreakable mental steel. If you stay until the end of this video, you'll discover the forbidden hardship method of Musonius Rufus, the most feared teacher in ancient Rome, and why modern special forces consider his techniques classified. Most people think they know what hardship means. They complain about traffic, about difficult bosses, about uncomfortable situations, but they have no idea what real hardship training looks like, what it feels like to voluntarily walk into hell, to choose suffering when comfort is available, to embrace pain as your greatest teacher. This ignorance keeps them weak, keeps them fragile, keeps them unprepared for life's inevitable storms. Musonius Rufus understood something that modern society has forgotten. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Safety is the killer of strength. The man who avoids all hardship becomes incapable of handling any hardship. So he created a system, a protocol, a method of deliberate suffering that would forge unbreakable humans. Students traveled thousands of miles to learn from him. Roman officials tried to silence him. Even the emperor feared his influence. Picture Rome in the 1st century, the most powerful empire in human history. Wealth beyond imagination, luxury at every corner, citizens growing soft on abundance, growing weak on comfort. Into this world stepped a philosopher with a radical message. Hardship is not your enemy. Hardship is your salvation, but not just any hardship, not random suffering, not meaningless pain, calculated hardship, chosen hardship, hardship with purpose. Musonius believed that humans were like metal, raw iron, full of potential, but weak and brittle. Only through the fire of deliberate hardship could that iron become steel. Only through chosen suffering could weakness become strength. His students didn't just study philosophy, they lived it, they practiced it, they suffered for it, and in that suffering they found something extraordinary. The method began with what Musonius called voluntary discomfort. Students would sleep on hard floors when beds were available. They would eat simple bread when feasts were offered. They would walk in winter cold when warm clothes were within reach. This wasn't masochism. This wasn't punishment. This was training. Training the mind to remain calm when the body was uncomfortable. Training the spirit to stay strong when circumstances were difficult. But voluntary discomfort was only the beginning. The real secret lay in something far more challenging, something that separated Musonius from every other teacher of his time. He called it the practice of chosen catastrophe. Students would deliberately place themselves in situations they feared most. The wealthy would live like beggars. The powerful would serve like slaves. The comfortable would endure like soldiers. Not for a day, not for a week, for months. One story tells of a Roman senator's son who came to study with Musonius. This young man had never worked with his hands, never felt hunger, never slept outdoors. Musonius sent him to work in the fields. Dawn to dusk, labor under the scorching sun. His hands blistered and bled. His back ached with exhaustion. His mind screamed for relief. But he continued, day after day, week after week, month after month. The other students watched this transformation with amazement. The soft, privileged boy began to disappear. His body grew strong from labor. His mind grew calm from hardship. His spirit grew unshakable from chosen suffering. When he finally returned to Rome, his own father didn't recognize him, not physically, but mentally. The weak child had become an unbreakable man. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn, because the principles Musonius discovered didn't die with ancient Rome. They went underground. They passed from teacher to student, from generation to generation, from philosopher to warrior, until they reached the most elite fighting forces on Earth. Modern special operations discovered that voluntary hardship training created something no other method could achieve: absolute mental toughness. But the real secret is about to be revealed: the specific protocol that transforms ordinary humans into extraordinary ones. The exact method that Navy SEALs use today. the same system that Roman soldiers feared and modern warriors embrace. The core of Musonius's method rests on 3 pillars. First, graduated exposure. You don't jump into the deepest water immediately. You start with discomfort you can handle and gradually increase the intensity. A cold shower before moving to ice baths. A hard bed before sleeping on the ground. Missed meals before extended fasting. The body and mind adapt gradually, becoming stronger with each level of challenge. Second, voluntary choice. The hardship must be chosen, not imposed. When suffering comes from external force, it creates resentment and weakness. When suffering comes from internal choice, it creates strength and power. The student who chooses to sleep on the floor develops different mental muscles than the prisoner forced to do the same. Choice transforms suffering from victimhood into empowerment. Third, philosophical framework. Random suffering is just pain. Purposeful suffering becomes growth. Musonius taught his students to see every hardship as training, every discomfort as strengthening, every challenge as opportunity. The mind that understands the purpose behind pain can endure infinitely more than the mind that sees pain as meaningless. Navy SEALs call this process stress inoculation training. They deliberately expose candidates to extreme physical and mental challenges, not because these exact situations will occur in combat, but because the mental toughness developed through chosen hardship transfers to every area of life. The man who can remain calm while freezing in ocean surf can remain calm while under enemy fire. The woman who can think clearly while exhausted and hungry can think clearly in any crisis. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. When humans face hardship, their brains undergo physical changes. New neural pathways form. Stress response systems strengthen. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and emotional control, literally grows larger. But only when the hardship is voluntary, only when the mind chooses to engage rather than merely endure. Modern research confirms what Musonius discovered through pure observation. Voluntary hardship training increases pain tolerance by up to 40%. It improves emotional regulation by measurable amounts. It enhances problem-solving ability under stress. It creates what psychologists call anti-fragility, the ability to become stronger through adversity rather than merely surviving it. One Navy SEAL instructor described the transformation this way. Candidates arrive thinking they're tough. They've played sports. They've faced challenges. They've overcome obstacles, but they've never deliberately chosen maximum discomfort for extended periods. The first week breaks most of them, not physically, mentally. Their comfortable minds cannot comprehend voluntary suffering, but those who survive begin to understand. Pain becomes familiar, discomfort becomes normal. What once seemed impossible becomes merely difficult. The ancient Romans had a phrase for this transformation: dolor hic tibi prodrit olim. This pain will benefit you someday. Musonius taught his students to repeat this during their hardest moments, when their bodies screamed for relief, when their minds begged for comfort, when every instinct urged them to quit. This pain will benefit you someday, not just someday, today, right now, in this very moment of choosing strength over weakness. But here's what most people miss about Musonius's method. The goal isn't to become someone who enjoys suffering. The goal is to become someone who remains effective regardless of circumstances, someone whose performance doesn't depend on comfort, someone whose happiness doesn't require easy conditions, someone whose strength doesn't crumble when life becomes difficult. And this is exactly where modern science enters the picture, where ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge research, where philosophy becomes measurable reality. Recent studies on elite performers reveal something remarkable. Whether they're Navy SEALs, Olympic athletes, or successful entrepreneurs, they all share one common trait. They've all voluntarily embraced significant hardship in their past, not trauma imposed by others, not random suffering from circumstances, chosen hardship, deliberate discomfort, intentional challenge. This creates what researchers call a hardship advantage. The brain that has voluntarily faced and overcome difficulty develops superior coping mechanisms, better stress management, enhanced problem solving, improved emotional control. These advantages transfer to every area of life. Career challenges become manageable, relationship difficulties become solvable, financial setbacks become temporary. The military has weaponized this knowledge. Special Forces selection programs deliberately create impossible scenarios, not to see who's already tough, but to identify who can become tougher through voluntary engagement with hardship. They've learned that previous comfort often predicts future strength. The candidate who has deliberately chosen difficulty in the past will choose effectiveness over comfort in the future. Corporate world leaders are beginning to understand this principle. Companies like Google and Apple now look for candidates who have voluntarily undertaken significant challenges, not just professional achievements. Personal hardship projects, mountain climbing, marathon running, extended solo travel, martial arts training. Any evidence that someone chooses difficulty when comfort is available. Because here's what Musonius understood that most modern people don't. Comfort is finite, difficulty is infinite. The person who depends on comfort for effectiveness will eventually face difficulty they cannot handle. The person who is trained in voluntary difficulty can handle whatever life presents. This isn't theory. This is practical reality tested across 19 centuries. One modern Navy SEAL described his transformation through hardship training with words that could have come from Musonius himself. Before this training, I thought strength meant never feeling pain. Now I understand strength means remaining effective while feeling pain. I thought courage meant not being afraid. Now I know courage means acting correctly despite being afraid. I thought success meant avoiding problems. Now I realize success means solving problems others cannot solve. The practical applications of Musonius's method are endless. Start with voluntary discomfort in small doses, cold showers, uncomfortable seating, simple food, physical exercise that challenges you, mental tasks that require focus, social situations that create anxiety, not randomly, not meaninglessly, with the specific purpose of building your capacity to remain effective under stress. Graduate to chosen challenges, sign up for difficult races, take on projects beyond your current skill level, engage in activities that scare you, travel to places that challenge you, learn skills that frustrate you, always with the understanding that you're not just accomplishing external goals. You're building internal capacity. You're training your mind to remain strong when circumstances become difficult. Develop philosophical framework. Every discomfort becomes training. Every challenge becomes opportunity. Every setback becomes education. This isn't positive thinking. This is practical recognition that voluntary hardship creates involuntary strength, that chosen suffering prevents unchosen weakness, that deliberate difficulty builds automatic resilience. The students of Musonius became legends, not because they were naturally superior humans, but because they voluntarily underwent training that others avoided. They chose hardship when others chose comfort. They embraced difficulty when others sought ease. They built strength when others preserved weakness. And when real challenges arose, they were ready. Modern special forces understand this principle completely. They don't train in comfortable environments, hoping their skills will transfer to difficult ones. They train in the most difficult environments possible, so that real-world challenges seem manageable by comparison. They choose maximum voluntary hardship, so that involuntary hardship becomes routine. This is the forbidden hardship method of Musonius Rufus. Forbidden not because it's secret, forbidden because it requires choosing difficulty when comfort is available. Forbidden because it demands voluntary suffering in a world obsessed with voluntary pleasure. Forbidden because it works so well that those who practice it gain unfair advantages over those who don't. The method is simple. The practice is hard. The results are extraordinary. Start today. Choose discomfort. Embrace difficulty. Train your mind through voluntary hardship. Not because suffering is good, but because strength is necessary. Not because pain is pleasant, but because effectiveness is essential. Not because hardship is fun, but because resilience is fundamental. 1900 years ago, a Roman philosopher discovered the secret to unbreakable mental toughness. Today, the most elite warriors on earth use his exact methods. Tomorrow, you can join their ranks. The only question is whether you're willing to choose hardship when comfort is available, whether you're ready to voluntarily walk into difficulty for the purpose of building strength, whether you have the courage to practice the forbidden hardship method of Musonius Rufus. Your transformation begins with your next choice. choose wisely.